This is my room. This has been my room for my entire life. All 24 years of it. And I wish I could have documented all of it, but for now, this is my room as of 2023. First and foremost are the dimensions. The room is 127 inches by 144 inches, and it features a closet that is 52 inches by 20 inches. For me, I'm all about consistency and aesthetics, and so with the room, I tried to keep a certain aesthetic with the color palette across the entirety of the room. So you'll notice a lot of white, black, and grays accented all across the room, along with a little bit of red, specifically more in the light setup. The room is painted in two different colors, with walls 1 and 3 being in a white finish, and walls 2 and 4 in a light gray tone. This was just to sort of add a little bit of variation to the room so that things weren't completely consistent with color. And so with that being said, let's start off with wall number 1. Now, for those of you who have seen my previous videos, this wall might seem pretty familiar. I did an entire project where I documented my process in creating this frame wall. But essentially, the wall comprises of 9 different frames, one being 24 by 36, 4 of them being 20 by 30, and the last 4 being 16 by 20. 8 of them comprise of photographs that I've taken in the past, and the one in the middle was actually a poster design that I created that really kind of caters to the THXXX Media brand that I created and founded. Feel free to click the link above to watch that entire process and see how that turned out. Pressed up against this wall as well is my queen size bed. You'll notice a friendly face that kind of lives on the bed, but ever since I was little, I used to sleep on a twin size bed for a large majority of my life, and I went through a growth spurt where I actually got to the point where my feet were hanging off the edge of the bed so bad, and it was just kind of getting really uncomfortable. So eventually we decided to get a queen size bed. Funny enough, I think my experience in sleeping in a twin size bed has kind of catered my mind to only stick to one side of the bed. So I actually only sleep on one half of it. The real benefit is just that extra space that I get for my feet so it doesn't really dangle off the bed. Underneath the bed is actually a storage cabinet that I picked up from the Container Store. This was actually just a cabinet that I needed to house an extra couple things. It holds a lot of just old wires and organizational pieces that I might use, like pieces of Velcro or clips that I may need to hold things together, along with some other stuff, of course, as well. I felt like leaving it underneath the bed so it was out of sight was a perfect spot for it because it's still close enough to the desk where I can actually just bend down, open it up, and pick up maybe an extra wire that I may need to charge something or whatever it may be. Next, let's talk about wall number 2. This wall comprises of course, the door, which actually has a hanging mirror on the back, just so I can kind of see what the outfit is looking like before I start my day and I walk out the door. The dresser is in a black finish, and this is a dresser that I just picked up on Amazon, but it does the job and it holds a lot of extra clothes that I do have, considering that my closet isn't that spacious. So I needed something that was going to be able to help organize all of the extra clothes that I would have that wouldn't necessarily be able to fit within the closet. I like to organize my clothes vertically whenever I put them into the dresser. It's a lot simpler for me to just open the drawer, see all the clothes from the top view, see exactly which one I'm looking for, pull it out, and be on my way. On top of the dresser, I have an old plasma TV. This TV is a dinosaur at this point, surprisingly enough, but it was a hand-me-down TV, and I don't use it a whole lot, but when I do have a Amazon Fire Stick attached to it, just so I could pull up things like Netflix, Hulu, or YouTube even, and just kind of throw something onto the TV if I wanted to watch something. Next to the dresser is my closet. Now, of course, like any old closet, it houses all of the clothes that I have on hangers, and then above it is a shelf unit that allows me to store any kind of miscellaneous objects, really, that I don't want to have out in my room. On the door of my closet, I do have an old THXXX Media logo sticker on there. It's kind of just a reminder for me of how far THXXX Media has really come. It was my first iteration of the THXXX Media logo, and I still love it to this day. I think it's just awesome to kind of see and kind of remind myself of how far we've really come as a designer and also as a brand really in general. So I love kind of just leaving that there, and it's a nice little aesthetic touch. Next, we have wall number 3. On this wall, the first feature that you'll notice is the sort of Tetris sort of shelf unit that I have. I really love this shelf unit, mainly obviously for its aesthetic. Looking at it from the front is just really kind of unique, and when I saw it, I knew I wanted to pick it up. Of course, it's in a black finish as well to kind of go along with everything else in the room. It essentially houses a lot of just mementos and figurines that I've picked up over the years, more specifically Naruto and Sasuke in their fight scene as they are about to collide. I also have Sasuke in the middle, which is actually a two-piece model where it's supposed to be Sasuke and Itachi next to each other. My brother actually has the Itachi side of the figurine, and they're actually supposed to kind of combine together, but I think it's pretty cool for us to have them obviously separate. I do also have a sort of makeshift cabinet. It's actually, I believe, supposed to be a makeup box, but I saw it on Amazon. It was actually the perfect dimensions to fit within the shelving unit, considering that each shelf only has so much space in terms of its width and length. I just needed a place that was able to hold a lot of just little small things that I couldn't necessarily leave around on my desk or something like that. But I always found that it was just kind of like a perfect fit, and I think it's a perfect spot for it. Above the sort of mini dresser, if you will, are a little section to kind of just hold a bunch of just quick essential things I may need, like cologne, chapstick, and any other kind of tiny little things I might need to quickly pick up before leaving the house. I also leave just a lot of like my slippers and Crocs down below for quick access if I need to kind of step outside real quick, go walk the dog, or do anything outside real quick. Above the Tetris dresser is an awesome poster that was given to me by my girlfriend. The poster actually illustrates the night sky of the day of our anniversary, which I always thought was just such an awesome idea. What a perfect way to kind of represent that moment in the night sky. So shout out to you, babe. Thank you. Now, next to the Tetris shelf is my windows. They face out into the backyard, and I actually have these awesome looking blinds on them. I love the aesthetic of them when you're rolling them up or down. You don't have to roll them all the way up. You can always kind of let in a select amount of light, and I just love the sort of aesthetic that it leaves. They're very sleek and minimalistic, but at the same time, of course, they're extremely effective. Below is the radiator for the room. Funny enough, this radiator can be seen in the old photos that I have of the room. On top of the radiator is my wood wick candle that I light from time to time using my electric lighter. And next to that is my fake tree thing. I don't even know what you would call it. I added these fairy lights onto the fake tree. It was mainly for Christmas time to kind of have a sort of makeshift Christmas tree in the room for the setup and for the stream so that they could see it on camera. But I never took them down because I always felt like it was kind of just like a cool little extra thing to have just kind of in the room, and it adds a little bit of a nice aesthetic to it. So next to the windows is my pegboard. Now you guys might have seen this in previous videos, and I never actually fully talked about it, and maybe I'll do a separate video kind of really diving into the sort of organization and the kind of idea behind the pegboard. But essentially I have two pegboards that I've mounted sort of at like an off angle sort of way, just for aesthetic purposes and just trying to be a bit unique. And there are kind of sort of different sections to the pegboard. To quickly run through them, essentially I have my grab and go section, which comprises of my keys, my glasses, and my wallet. Those are the three things that I absolutely need when I'm leaving the house. Towards the top, I have a shelf piece that holds all of the things that I use for my designs. So whether that's my sketchbook or a clipboard or even my logo book as well. This is kind of just a one-stop shop place where I can just kind of look up, grab what I need, and kind of get to work. Now below that, I have my old mechanical keyboard. This wasn't originally mine, this was my friend Kyle's, shout out to you. I kind of just leave it on display now that I don't really use it. I do want to get into building mechanical keyboards maybe in the future. I think it would be kind of a fun hobby to kind of just tinker with and mess with. So this is sort of my kind of inspiration for now in displaying old keyboards. Below that, I have all my essential tools kind of at an easy height to be able to reach, even if I'm sitting down at my desk. So going from left to right, the left has all of my pens and pencils and quick tools that I need to be able to maybe draw or write something down. Next to that are my small dry erase cards. Now these cards are cool because on the back they're actually magnetic, so they're able to stick directly to the pegboard or even to themselves to be able to stack really easily. I use these dry erase cards for whenever I'm trying to brainstorm something or write something quickly down and I need a bunch of different movable pieces of cards. And instead of using sticky notes where after you're done writing on them and you're done with them, you would throw them out, of course, and eventually you would have to buy a new set because over time they'd get used out. But with these, of course, you could erase whatever is on there and reuse it whenever you want. So below that, I have 2 miscellaneous trays. These hold a lot of just random pieces of tools that I may need at a quick grab. Things like the dry eraser that I would need to actually wipe down the dry erase cards. Some different spray bottles that I can use to clean any of my equipment at my desk. My electric toolkit, which is pretty awesome because, of course, if I'm trying to maybe get into my PC or tinker with anything, it's always awesome to have something that's electric so you don't kind of get bogged down from just having to utilize your wrist. Finally, we have wall number 4. Now, of course, this wall comprises of my desk. Essentially, it's an L-shaped desk that houses a 3-monitor setup where I have a 2020 iMac and a Windows PC for specifically gaming related things. If you guys are interested in seeing more information on that, I'll link both of those videos above where I dive into the desk setup, which was before I had the PC, and the PC video itself of me building it. If you guys are interested in that, be sure to click those links. Above that, I have 2 offset shelves. Now these shelves are, once again, kind of just to be able to display certain things, one of which being the different books that I have. I think that over time, I want to start building out my design books that I have. For now, I have a lot of just random books and a small set of actual designer books. I want to get more into actually picking up some physical copies of some awesome inspirational pieces for my design work. And so this is kind of just the start of it. Next to that, I have my Corcado and my reversible plushies. These are a staple. These have to be at my setup at all times. And they're in a great place to display. Following that, I have my wooden puzzles. Once you know how to do it, there's really no point in kind of redoing it. So each one has been solved, and this is my collection of what I've kind of built up over the years. I also have this awesome glowing moon next to it. As a kid, I was always interested in being an astronomer, so this is, I guess, sort of like a cool way to kind of remind myself of that. The second shelf holds a lot of different pieces of equipment and old devices specifically. I'm kind of getting into holding on to old devices from our past. I think they're really awesome to kind of look back on and see as inspiration. And so I have a bunch of old Apple products and an old Samsung tape recorder that is kind of like the gem in my family. This tape recorder has all of the old videos that my family used to record, or that I might have recorded maybe a little bit. I was so young at the time, so a lot of the time I'm actually kind of in front of the camera. As a kid, I used to love being in front of the camera. Hopefully maybe one day we can kind of dive into that a little bit, but for now it lives on the shelf as the sort of family gem that we have. I do have a black carpet on the ground, which is quite difficult to keep clean. I will say, after owning a lot of different black pieces of furniture, it's very difficult to keep clean just because you notice the things that are on them in terms of the dust or crumbs maybe that might be lying around. So in the future, I might kind of stray away from having so many black pieces of furniture, but for now, this is what we have. And yeah, that's pretty much it. That is my room as of 2023. I think what inspired this video was just going back in old photo albums and seeing what the old room used to look like. It's gone through so many iterations in its lifetime, and this room just really means a lot to me. And I know at one point or another, it won't be my room anymore, and I'll have to move on. And so I really want to just document the state of it as of right now and what that looks like, so I can always kind of go back and see. I think it's really important to document your life as much as you can, because it's one of those things where you'll regret when you didn't. You'll regret not being able to go back easily and see how far you've come, or maybe the good old days really in general. So I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, of course, leave a like. If not, maybe in the next one. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I will see you guys in the next one. Enjoy yourself. Take care.